where dreams collide. Sarah's voice, a gentle guide through the realms of time and space. She takes us to a sacred place.
With the higher self now, please. Do I have permission to speak with the higher self now, please?
You do.
I think I'm really curious, why did this group get together? What is it about this group, and why are we all together?
This group has an incredibly strong water element component to them. So it flows through the bloodlines, it flows through past life energies, it flows through the energy of the universe. So we are showing your subject as you're putting her down like waves. It's almost like she's on a boat. She was feeling like it was when you put her through the past life as a Knights Templar and she was on that ship. It was that same feeling, and we really wanted to have her have the feeling of that water flowing, and that is the element in this room that connects you all. And it's in different ways, it's in different forms, it's in different incarnations through lifetimes, but what is connecting you here in this space that is similar for every single person is that element of water.
Has anyone in this room had past life together, or what is it that really draws us together? What do we need to understand about this water element and things like that?
So this group is very special in the fact that there were many people that either lived in Lemuria or Atlantis. And so both of those areas were heavily tied to water. Now, not everyone in this room did live in Lemuria and Atlantis, but they had a connection to water in a different way, whether that was living near a stream or on a ship as this subject did at one time, or they had unfortunate endings to life such as drowning. There is a water element to each and every one of you that allows you to understand and connect with that energy in a way that not everybody can. And you are made up so much of water, and that energy flows not just within your system. You all think that your body is this compact little unit, but it's just tightly held, formatted together, but really the energy flows outwards. And because you all have that understanding, maybe not in a conscious way, but even subconsciously about how that water element works, your energy is mingling and flowing so easily together, which isn't quite typical in every single group that you bring together, Sarah.
What would maximize our experience together? What could we do together to really benefit us all in this group?
You should do a water blessing. So if you can encourage everyone to get a cup that is clear, preferably glass, but if you don't, a plastic cup, you should set intentions, words into that, drink that water down with that intention flowing through your body. If people have crystals, placing the crystals on the outside of the water glass and imbuing that energy in that as well, and just allowing the energy from each and every one of you, almost like a ceremony of passing that cup around. So start with the cup in your hand and set an intention, and then pass that cup to the next person and have them set an intention, and pass the cups all the way around until that cup that you started with comes back to you. And now you have the energy of all of the other water bearers in this room, plus your energy in that cup, and you can all share more deeply with that already connected experience by drinking that water that you have all put an intention and blessing into.
Oh, wow, beautiful. Can we do that Sunday?
You can do it any day.
Okay. Could you tell us more about Lyme disease? What is the root cause of Lyme disease? I know before I've asked you this question, but some people in the group also wanted to know, do ticks cause Lyme disease, or is it caused by something else?
So ticks have got the bad rap for Lyme disease. They can carry a component of it, but really what happens is when you get bit by a tick, it creates almost like a histamine response, a reaction in your body that is a catalyst for something else that has already been brewing within your system. And so Lyme disease is connected that way through the ticks, but it really actually isn't the ticks that are the carrier of it. It's a parasitic, viral, heaviness that's already inside the body, oftentimes placed there through things like vaccines, through your food source, through your water, very much so. There are parasites in fish, like your salmon, in your eggs, and these are things that are promoted such heavily in your cultures right now. It seems like more than ever, it's like eat meat, eat protein, which we are sitting on the other side just really kind of stumped by, because we had seen this progression of understanding the connection to souls in animals and humans start to get more of a voice. And now that happened, the people in power are making their voices even louder. And the way that they've done this is to try to convince people again that protein is so advantageous for you to ingest, but really it is not, and it's full of bacteria, and that really leads into Lyme disease. So anyone with Lyme-like symptoms should really steer away from that and ensure they're drinking clean water, which we just talked about. You can set an intention and bless your water. You should really try to be eating fruits and vegetables and hydrating your body. Those are really important things, and trying to stay clear of dairy and meat when you can.
Okay. Well, okay, how do you heal yourself if you do get Lyme disease? Why do people seem to heal with antibiotics then, if it's parasitic?
So one thing we want to say that's really important to know is that we would rather have you not eat than eat something that's poor for you. Mm-hmm. You actually make yourself sicker by feeding yourself things that don't resonate with your body or feed the bacteria or viruses that are already in your system. So if you have leanings of these pathology or leanings of the symptomatic, responses that show that it might be Lyme or something akin to Lyme, we ask you to really look at your diet and consume less. As a general population, you eat more than you need. So consume less and be very mindful of what you're consuming. So fruits and vegetables, hydrating liquids. We're not talking about Gatorade or something like that that's packed full of chemicals. We're talking about really fresh water that is filtered, that still has minerals that are good for you. And those are the things we would encourage you to focus on. Cut out the junk food, cut out the protein. All of those things are completely unhelpful. The caffeine, the alcohol, all the things that we know people seem to have such a passion for holding on to, we want you to try to release that, because if you don't release that, you're just never going to get better. And that really is what we've told you many times in the past, Sarah. They want you to stay sick. And so they're going to continue to promote, even if you go on a website for a disease that you've been diagnosed with. So let's just say you were diagnosed with, for example, multiple sclerosis. If you go on a website for MS, they will promote actually things that are going to make you sicker, because they are funded by people that want to keep you sick. So you have to intuitively listen to your system, which can be hard when you're not feeling well. You're sluggish, you're heavy. It's hard to navigate your intuition sometimes, but we are here to tell you. So run with the information we're giving you, which is really to have yourself be hydrated and to eat those fruits and vegetables and just eat less in general.
Okay, but why do people feel better with antibiotics when they have Lyme disease?
So antibiotics work almost like a steroid would work for people. It's a mask. It's covering symptoms. It's a Band-Aid. It's not actually getting to the root and solving the problem, but it's masking the symptoms. And so you do start to feel better. But oftentimes people will go off antibiotics and they'll have a flare-up of whatever the condition is that they had previously that it was trying to treat. And that's because, again, it wasn't completely curing, it was settling, it was masking, but then all of this bacterial viral toxicity comes out even stronger after you stop these antibiotics. And they are stronger because they have now, as you've been pumping your body full of these types of things, figuring out a way to adapt. They're very, very adaptable. They're quick learners. They're quick studies. We say, man, if humans actually learned as quickly as these guys did, and we point to the gut because so much of it lives there, you would be also superpower-like, but you don't adapt. Humans have a real resistance to adaptation or listening to advice and taking and learning, but these bacteria, these viruses, they don't. And so that's why you feel better, because it starts to numb them. It makes them have to figure out a way to navigate the antibiotic and bypass that and become stronger. But you're masking the symptoms, just like a steroid, just like hormone replacement therapy. It makes you feel better, but it's not actually fixing the reason that you have the problem.
Okay, well, how do you fix the problem? Like, from your side, what would you say would be the best? Like, you did mention parasites. Would a parasite cleanse help someone with Lyme disease? Like, what protocol would help someone heal the best?
So 100% a parasite cleanse would be good for even people that don't have Lyme disease or people that believe they don't have parasites. At this point, almost every single person on the planet has a parasitic overload, but you have to be very careful about where you're sourcing your cleanse from, because again, Big Pharma understands now how many people are starting to turn to more natural like products, and they have been adding their own flair to some of these products or buying out mom and pop shops that started with well intentions and putting their own spin on it. So you have to make sure that where you're sourcing your cleanses from are reputable and have ingredients that actually are helpful and not harmful. And sometimes that means just creating cleanses on your own by researching ingredients that would work well and sourcing out your own ingredients. There are companies out there, the subject has sent you one, Sarah. There is a parasitic cleanse that you could share with this group that she sent you in the past. That is a reputable company that would work well, but just be very mindful of where you're sourcing your cleanses from.
Can you show the subject which parasite cleanse would be good for the group?
So there's one called Paragon, P-A-R-A Gone. There's one called Candida Gone. It is all by a company. They're showing me the box is like a yellow box. Let me see if I can get the company name. I think it's Renew Life.
Okay.
Let's Google that, and you can
right.
show the subject after, and she can tell you if that's what the box looks like that we're showing her.
Okay. Well, I love this question. Here's a personal question. Is Terry going to Hawaii with Sarah, Crystal, and Christy in January to move?
No, to meet.
Oh, to meet. Oh, soul husband. Her soul husband. Okay.
Okay, so this is me coming through because what they're showing me now, it's actually so cute. They're like showing me like a Hawaiian dancer, like a luau, and kind of like scooting up like this over to Terry. And what they're showing is that absolutely that could happen, but they're saying don't pin it on that it has to be someone that grew up and was born in Maui. They're saying just have your eyes open for someone with the Maui energy, and that when you go into Maui, you're going to get a feel of what that is and how that lights you up. And that they're showing me someone who looks like Caucasian, but is like kind of doing, it's like they pulled him up on stage and he's doing the Maui dance. So it's not going to necessarily seem like be a native to Maui, but someone who really has that Maui vibe and that Maui feel. They say that's what you want to look for.
Yeah, Terry.
Well, I guess Terry has to come on our trip. Okay. Stephanie's curious about Mars. What ancient structures still exist on Mars, if there are any?
Oh, there's so many. So there's actually something we wanted to say. I think this is important, and you can see the subject here. She's kind of itchy, and she gets like this a lot when we do sessions. But what's really causing this to be worse than normal is the scents that are in this house, and there are. There was a session that Crystal did with Christy at lunch, and Christy came into the room and had a migraine, and it was from the scents, and Crystal had a migraine from the scents. And so we want to take a moment just to do a bit of a blessing on all of you and help you release the toxins, but to also speak to why some people get migraines. And this is going to link back to Mars. So essentially people that get migraines are almost like canaries in the coal mines. Like back in the day, they are sensing things before the rest of your bodies are feeling it. So if someone in your grouping, in your space is getting a migraine, look at that as a cue to recognize that there's something happening probably to everyone in this room. You're just not feeling it yet. And so it is the toxicity of the scents in this space. So we are very encouraging of the use of scents, but it needs to be essential oils. The rest of it is fake scents. And essentially that again is companies that are using things that, again, will make you sick. They want to make you sick. And we all love the nice smells, but they are toxic. It's an actual chemical that you're breathing in. When you breathe in essential oil, that's a helpful herb-like substance that has medicinal properties, whereas this is actually a toxic substance. So if you can all just close your eyes for one moment. And we're using the water element here. So we want you to breathe deeply in and picture yourself pulling up particles of beautiful, clean, crystalline water. And as you're breathing out, you're releasing any toxins, anything that does not serve your body, and you're letting it flow out just like a wave would flow out of your body. And those toxins are now being released into the ocean, into the sea, where they are being completely neutralized. And now we are sending back this water to each and every one of you, clean and fresh, so that your system, with this breath, you're breathing in purified, fresh, clean water. And any of the toxic overload from the scents in this room is now gone from your system. Thank you for doing that with us.
Thank you. I was curious about those scents too. So can we protect ourselves from them somehow? Say we are in a space where there are these scents. Do we have to succumb to a migraine? I mean, is there anything we can do so that we don't have to be affected by them?
So grounding is incredibly important. So picturing like tree roots growing out of the bottoms of your feet and delving down deep into the core and the crust of Mother Earth, where you're deeply rooting there. Now, things like this can really make your system feel off kilter. And so that's why we want to encourage that grounding. There's a lot of energy flowing in this room. Someone said today this group was coming in hot. The energy, that is true. You were all so ready for this. And the energy was spiraling before you even walked into the space. So people, again, that are naturally predisposition to migraines from these things are going to be even more so if they're not grounding themselves with the energy flow that is flowing in this room. But you all should ground, because there is going to be a lot of energy and release for each and every one of you throughout this week. So allowing yourself to have that connection to earth is so important, and you can just visualize that. You don't have to be outside. If you can go outside and take your shoes off, if it's still weather, able to do that with the weather, we encourage that, but you can visualize that and then placing yourself in a protective shield so that it almost deflects the toxins around you. Think of it like that. So you have like a magical shield that's around you, and any toxins from scents or anything trying to get in are just repelled away, almost like a mosquito repellent. And thinking of those two visualizations should be able to help reduce the symptoms.
All right, thank you.
We want to loop back to Mars, because there was a question. The reason we talked about the canary in the coal mine is because there's so many structures underground in Mars. So you asked about the structures there. Think about the old coal mines, literally, that you would see on Earth. That exists on Mars. There's so much hidden infrastructure that has been carved out in tunnels underground. There are life forms that have never actually left Mars that still exist there, that were able to sustain life, just like what is happening here on Earth. So again, these people that are in power, or people that have a lot of money, they have already started forming colonies underground, cities underground, where they have access to fresh water, they have food supplies, they have everything they need for when this atmosphere or the Earth above ground kind of goes to pot. They are going to be safe and protected underground. There was similar civilizations on Mars that did that as well, who have been able to sustain their life, even though people think that life does not exist there anymore. But as far as the old infrastructure, if you were to really be able to find these, you would find tunnels that look a lot like these old mines here. But if you go deeper down, there's a lot of magic that exists in Mars. And again, it's the idea of extrapolating the minerals and the magic that exists there, just like people here on Earth extrapolate coal and etc. There is almost what we would say like a red they're showing me almost like a magic, like pixie dust. It's a really magical property that if you actually want to talk about healing, you can make into like a poultice. So you take this like red like dust and mix it with a little bit of liquid, and you can apply it to almost any wound, and it heals extremely quickly. You can take this and you can sprinkle it in your water and stir it in and drink it, and it actually like heals internal systems. But again, to find that, you had to go and mine down deep into Mars, and the infrastructure will be found where you're going to be able to find these like old coal mines that still do exist on Mars.
Is there any of that dust anywhere we can source it ourselves here?
So they're saying the problem with Earth is that the areas that they would send you to that would be easily accessible, they're pointing to like Sedona area with the Red Rock Mountains. There was a time when there were similar properties, but now because of all of the atmospheric pollutants that have settled on top of it, it's not the same anymore. It has actually changed the structure. So they're saying essentially at this point in time, it's a no, but they're also saying that as we shift into the fourth, fifth dimensions and get back up into that space where we're going to be in an Earth where Mother Earth is healed and functioning as she should, then it will be the Sedona area that, yes, you could go and access a very, very like substance.
Okay, on Mars, who built the structures that are there?
So they're calling them, and they're, they have their humor. They're saying Martians, just like, they're saying it's a lot of like similarity to Earth, where we were in many cases populated by ETs, that same thing happened on Mars, that there was some placement through source, just like we had humans placed here and, humans that evolved over time. There were placements of Martians on Mars, but there were changes to their DNA and pairings with ETs as well. Again, that helped with a few things: longevity of life, because the ET DNA allowed people to live longer, and an assimilation or an understanding of technology that came through the commingling of the DNA is what they're showing me. It was able to increase and accelerate the intelligence of the population there. So it's kind of twofold, just like it was here on Earth.
Oh, wow. Okay. When were these structures built?
They're showing me thousands of years ago.
Okay. Let's see. Can you talk about some of the key structures on Mars? Like maybe there's some new ones. You did say there were some new structures.
There are some new structures. So it's interesting because the new structures are being built within the old structures. So it's still very much something that is being hidden from the eyes of our world. There are people that are very aware in our world, though, of what is happening there. But what's happening is the infrastructure that is new is being hidden in the old tunnels that have sort of been out of use for a long time now. And the new technology and the new builds are building inside there. So I'm being shown like metal infrastructure to almost fortify these tunnels and make them less susceptible to collapse. So that's being reinforced, and within there, they're almost showing me like little motherboards, like chips being installed, where you almost have this whole underground city that's being built within Mars, and it's kind of being linked to like the Elon Musk type of people, very clearly showing a connection there, and that eventually the idea is to go and populate Mars and be the first people to go there. But there's going to have been many people that already were there, and a lot of infrastructure that has been put in place before those first people are taken to Mars. But what they want to do is take that group of people there and have it be so successful that it draws more and more people to want to make that trip and pay like exuberant amounts of money to make that trip, and the only way that they can ensure the success of those voyages is by having all this infrastructure in place ahead of time. And so that is sort of the busy work that's happening behind the scenes right now, and essentially in secret.
Oh, okay. For Stephanie with an F, what soul agreement did she make before coming into this life?
So they're saying there's so many soul agreements, and that's a message for everybody in this room, that your soul agreement has an agreement with so many souls, that even someone that you pass on the street that smiles at you one day when you're having a sad day and sort of lights you up from the inside, you had a soul agreement even down to that molecular detailed level. So when you ask that question, our question back would be, is there a specific soul area that you want information on? Because there are so many souls that you charted to meet in this lifetime.
Okay, thank you. What could you say about how we can nurture and support like our children's spiritual development, or just our children in this time period? How can we support our children?
Oh, we feel for you so deeply with this question, because it's becoming more and more complicated, because you have cell phones, you have technology that they've never had before. Your children now in this lifetime are battling development and integration in this society in ways that they never have had to before, and they're being supported by people who have never had the experience that they're having. So it's a very, very challenging time. But what we would encourage you to do is somewhat what we've already said. Really focus in on their diet and ensure that they're eating, the best things possible, recognizing how hard that is when they go to other people's homes who aren't being nudged in that direction. But the message would be just to have them tune in. So you can let them go to a birthday party and say, like, if you want to eat that cake, but all I ask is that you feel and tune into yourself how you actually do feel after you eat that. So when you eat the cake, do you feel energetic after? Do you have a crash? And start teaching them to trust their bodies. We would encourage you to, obviously, this won't be a surprise, but decrease their screen time. The imagery that's shown, there are things that you're seeing, and there are things that are being shown that you're not catching, because like secret messages are being embedded into the technology that happens so quickly. So this technology has been around for so long. If you went back to the movie theaters in the 1930s or 1940s, they would show you like an image of popcorn or pop so quickly you didn't even see it. And suddenly you're wondering, why do I feel like I want another pop when I just had one? Or I didn't feel like I want a popcorn when I got here, but now I do. And they were subliminally advertising to you. And they're doing this with your children now. And they're giving them messaging. And that is the easiest point of access, is on these devices that they carry in their hands, that they're showing through their screens. Now, you think, if I just have them stay away from a video game that has, guns and violence, that I'll be okay. And if they just watch this children's video, that's better. But again, they're subliminally feeding messages in every way they possibly can to alter the brains of your children, with, again, the intention of control, with the intention of creating people that are sick. And one way to do that is by showing so much that they require these dopamine hits that they almost aren't going to get anywhere else. And without that screen time, they fall into deep depression. They fall into states of panic and anxiety when they don't have the ability to reach for this technology that's so easily there. So really, really limiting that, but then finding a way to fill that space with something that lights up their soul. And that means that you have to dial in, because you can't just send your kids out anymore and say, go play in the backyard like kids did in the 60s, 70s, and 80s. They're not able to have the mind power to play on their own, to imagine the way that many of you did as children. You have to be their guide now in that. And that is because of the way that they were born into this technological space. So it is not a passive activity. It's one that actually requires you to dial in, which we recognize is an added piece of work as a parent. But for you to get outside and encourage the practices that we tell you to do too, take off their shoes, have yourself ground with Mother Earth, sit in the sunshine and have the rays come in their eyes. And you can even start by doing something simple, by looking in the skies and looking for cloud animals and ways to build that connection to the earth. Have them sit by a tree and feel the energy of the tree. We love the idea of tree huggers, and we want the new generation to be more integrated in that, but they are so far removed from that it's really going to require your guidance in order for them to be able to get there.
Okay, well, like, what is going to happen with our children? Because I'm just saying, like, I see most children, they probably spend 8 hours or at least on their device, maybe 1/2 hour outside playing with, because the parent has a half hour to spare throwing a ball or something. Then, like, what can a parent realistically do in this time? Because they are going to be seeing devices. They are going to, the parent is going to need downtime.
So it is the whole concept of the effort that you put in now will make the effort that's needed later less. So if you are able to put in the effort now, as exhausting as that may sound, but by teaching them the basic fundamental skills of how to connect with their own spirit, with their own energy, without needing to dial into technology for that hit of dopamine, they're going to intuitively understand how they feel better. They actually feel more regulated. Their nervous systems are more at peace, and they're going to start craving that. But again, they need that guidance from you, and they need that support to find that balance, because you're right, it's everywhere, and you don't necessarily want to have your child going to the birthday party that has no idea what other kids are talking about and then suffer from being ostracized. It's a whole fine balance, but really it is you putting in that effort now and recognizing that your exhaustion, yes, it's going to be there, but you need to let that be outweighed by the gift essentially that you're giving to your children and the gift you're giving to yourself, because as we said, the more that they feel connected to that and understand how to have imaginative play, how to connect with Mother Earth, they're going to crave it more, but they just need that guidance first. And then again, just really, we can't say enough about the food. Again, a lot of the time when you're having children that are gaming or watching movies, they're mindlessly snacking too. And what do you reach for? It's not often going to be fruits and vegetables. It'll be a bag of Doritos. So it's that, again, just like, look at what you're doing, try and encourage them to be more conscious about their decisions and finding that balance, because we do recognize that it's hard, and we're not going to say to you as parents, we demand that you will have no technology. That's really not reasonable at this point. But if you can have an appreciation for where technology is helpful, but then also have them understand the detrimental side effects of it, you're going to be helping them. Because the idea is essentially to program these children to be slave-like, to be sick-like, to be able to be controlled at the will of those that want to. And that is not your will. That is not what you want for your children, but is what the people in power want. So you have to be able to be very mindful, and by fueling yourself in a way that gives you more energy, you will be better able to do that too.
I love it. Here's another question. How can we protect ourselves from the digital ID and chips that are supposed to be coming soon? Is there anything that we should know or do? Is there a loophole?
Oh, they're going to make it so hard. It's just going to be like the vaccine, where they are going to, threaten, organizations are going to threaten to fire employees if you don't have this chip to be able to get through the door. It's going to be just like that. But there is a growing number of you can even see it within this space and in this room, who either took the vaccine and didn't want to, or who didn't take it, or who took it and thought maybe they should, but now sort of regret it and have a better understanding of the agenda that was associated with that. So what was an unanticipated outcome of this COVID vaccine was that the small group of people that had their spidey senses go up have had such a voice that it has awakened something in the masses that has never been awakened before. So there are more of of you that are going to say, I don't want this chip, and you will find the loophole and you will come together. There will be communities that will be formed that absolutely refuse to have this chip, and you will be ostracized, and you may be told, well, then you can't have access to this or this and this, but you're going to say, whatever, we're okay with that. I'll grow my own potatoes. I'll do this. And you're going to figure out ways to circumvent the system that they have really tried to get you to so heavily rely on. And that is the idea behind Uber Eats and all of this easy, quick access that you have become so used to relying on. They want you to feel like, oh my gosh, I don't even know what to do without this now. But there are those of you that are awakening and you still have some old knowledge that you can carry forward and teach others how to live without access to those, or you've never lived that way but are starting to have a knowledge awaken within you from past lifetimes that can carry you through that. So essentially what we're saying is you're going to form communities, you're going to find one another. So many of you today when you did your introduction said, I don't have any friends that understand me. I don't have any family that understands me, but you have family in this room. And you need to start looking more broadly, more outward from your small social circles and finding the people. They're like, you guys are all they're showing me right now, like beacons of white light popping up. And you just need to look for the beacons and come together and form your own new communities when this starts to roll out.
I always wondered why, I do know, I mean, through sessions that these are little communities, like pockets of communities. But what will it look like when the whole community gets together? I mean, is it a good idea to start buying land and then being like, hey, communities, here's like land. Do we need to do that now or can we wait? Like, what is it going to look like?
It's a great idea to buy land because land is one of the most precious resources next to water. So your water system is number one at this point. Number two is land. And it's only going to become more precious and more sought after and more expensive. So if you have the means to buy land now, we would encourage you to do that. It doesn't matter exactly where the land is, but we will tell you there are a few things to look for if they're available in your area. Access to fresh water and access to soil that has the ability to still grow and be cultured. Those are two things that we would encourage. But if you don't have readily access, and whether that's just location where you are or the financial means because those parcels of land are more expensive, you don't need that. You will be able to find other ways. We've talked about this in other readings too, that you are going to be able to essentially eat the sun. We're trying to teach people this more, that if you are outside in the sun, opening your eyes and letting the vitamin D flow through your eyelids, flow through your eyes, open your eyes. You want your eyelids open. You naturally feel more satiated and less hungry. You will have less need for actual physical food to go in your mouth. So there are ways that we can help and support you if you don't have those other two things that we mentioned.
Thank you. Not to get into any politics, please, but why was the U.S. government really shut down?
Oh boy. Okay. They literally looked at each other just now and they're like, where do we start? So there's so many reasons, even just the flight debacles that are happening now that would prevent some of you from having potentially made it here. Just essentially chaos, and not just chaos that is like affecting the outwardness, but within the system. Like government is closed, but it's not really closed. There's a lot of discussions that are still happening, and there's frustrations that are stemming inside the political sphere with political parties, and a lot of disagreement that they're trying to hash out behind the scenes. So it's actually not shut down in the way that they're having you believe that it's shut down. There's a growing number of, all we can say is like frustration and disagreement that's starting to happen behind the scenes too. And the easiest way to try to quench that was for the leader that's in the most power to try to shut things down. But what he didn't realize, it's almost like what happened with COVID, that sometimes these actions that take place can bring people together and unify people. And there were individuals who were not on the side of one way of thinking, that now that the government has shut down and they've been able to sit more with their thoughts and see what's going on in the world, are starting to come over to that way of thinking. So it's not really working exactly the way that it was anticipated, but in some ways it is, because it is causing chaos in some areas. But also, I don't know if many of you have done something, as we've already just said, to do today, which is look up in the sky and look up at the clouds. Without some of the functions the government normally runs, the pollution in your air is already reducing somewhat. You can see bluer skies, you can see fluffier clouds. And so those things are showing up. And again, that was an unanticipated outcome. So when they try to speak to all of you and tell you that what they're doing to the world isn't harmful, clearly when they shut down and things like that start to renew and regenerate, it's a very obvious visual that is not true.
Oh, wow. Will there be a large earthquake in California anytime soon?
There will be. It's been brewing for quite a while. There's been little shocks. There's getting bigger shocks. There will be a big earthquake. But what we want to tell you about that is that California has so much magic to it. But again, it's almost like Atlantean times, where people in California, especially those with a lot of money, or people in power, they're using the resources in the wrong way. And what Mother Earth wants to do, or feels that she needs to do, is to crack things open and have these people that have become so focused on the wrong things, like plastic surgery, fashion. They need to be awakened in such a dramatic way that they are reminded of what life actually is and what's important. And she's finding that there's almost no other way to do it by doing this huge earthquake that shifts people in such a dramatic way that they have no other option but to be awakened.
When will this happen?
I'm being shown this over and over. So within the next 2 years.
Okay, do people who live in California need to move?
They're saying that it's not going to be to the point where there's going to be a lot of death. There will be death, but it's going to be there's going to be a lot more collapse of infrastructure. So you're not going to be able to go to your plastic surgeon. You're not going to be able to get your Botox. You're not going to be able to go down Rodeo Drive and get your purse and get your fur coat. Or that is more the idea of where the targeted collapse will be. Even within the home structure with the big homes, again, the idea is to get back to the land and encourage people to get into communities where it's a shared space and you're living off the land, not in big giant mansions with pools and hot tubs. Like, this is just so far removed from what Mother Earth wants for all of you, but especially within that area. So the idea is there will be loss of life. We will be clear about that, but the idea is more to collapse infrastructure. So we're not going to tell you to run. We want you to tune in and decide if that's the right choice for you. But if you are going to make the decision to leave, don't do it based on fear. Never leave somewhere because you're fearful. Make a decision because you are essentially looking at it with open eyes and intuitively feeling where you should go next.
Okay, amazing. When will open contact happen?
So it is happening, but in the openness that we think this question is asking about, we want to say actually sooner than you might anticipate. We see within the next 6 months. Now, we are speaking through the subject because we are part of the group that will be coming and being part of the open contact. We have been sending people to try and already cross the bridge, but are being shut down. There are many groups that know exactly where we're coming, when we're coming. They're very advanced at the technology that they're using to locate us and essentially are putting up blocks, but we are smarter and we are finding ways to circumvent this. And we want to continue to make small appearances right now so that people start to feel our energy a little bit more before seeing us, so that the comfort level is better and it's not such a shock to so many. We know even within this group, if we appeared here right now, there would still be some people that would want to run screaming out the door, even though you are all so advanced. And so we're just recognizing, how can we have you lean more into us without that fear and be more accepting? And feel like we're getting very close.
And who are you and why are you speaking through the subject?
Because we knew that these questions were going to be asked today. We knew what some of you were going to write already. And because we are here to help and support you, we don't want to make open contact just to be shot down by an army and killed. We want to make open contact because we want to support you, because we see the value in human beings and we see the value of this beautiful earth that you all reside in. So we are here to support you. And selfishly, we have families on other planets that are going to be gravely and deeply affected if planet Earth is destroyed. And so we don't want that to happen. We love our planets. We love our families. We love where we come from. And so we want to support you for somewhat selfish reasons as well, but also because, again, we see you on a soul level and we see the value in each and every one of you. And you're not being allowed to live the life that you should be able to, because you are being manipulated and controlled and caused to be sick. And it's actually starting to make several of us really, really angry, because Earth has gone through this cyclical pattern so many times, and we don't and we won't allow that to happen again. And it's, again, for the betterment of the whole galaxy, but also for the betterment of you souls who have come here. You deserve the chance to live in a space where you can connect deeply with the resources around you in a safe and sustainable way.
Okay, well, who are you, first of all? And then when will we escape this reality? Like, I mean, aren't we moving through the ascension? When can we expect to be on this higher dimension of Earth?
So that's a bit of a challenging question, and you can even hear the somberness in the subject's voice now. And the reason is because it is, to a degree, a personal choice. That is one of the magical things about the souls that incarnate here on Earth, is that you do have free will, and some souls don't want to lean into the new Earth. They are extremely comfortable with the space that they're in. Even in situations where they think they're not, where they may be really, really sad or depressed or feeling like the world is sort of out to get them, and they're immersed in this hate space where they say to everyone, I don't want to live like this anymore, but they actually energetically do kind of want to remain in this space. And so some people aren't going to advance. They're going to choose to stay in that space, and that's okay. But what we're not going to let happen is that the individuals that stay in that space are used in such a way that they become minions to allow the planet to be destructed. We won't let that happen. So we can say even in that space, that won't occur. But the shift is already happening. The testaments that you provided when you introduced yourself today, you're awakening, you're finding. We've never heard so many people say, in the last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 years, I found this, and this is really happening now at an accelerated pace. And the advancement and shift that occurs when you all get into a room together and share the information and energy that you are here only allows you to exponentially grow. And we are seeing that sort of filter out. If we want to talk about the water connection again that you all have, it's waving out. So you are here in this room, in this space, but the energy that you're creating is flowing out from this group, and it's touching people well beyond this workshop. And so the ascension is happening. It's already in a state. There are already people that are fully in 5D, and there are those of you that are shifting into 4D, back to 3, up to 5, and back. It's a mixture right now, but there's so many of you that are getting there, and it is happening already.
Well, do you have any advice that we could use to quickly shift into 5D? Like, could we just do it now?
oh, they're doing this old thing, like, shame on you, Sarah. they're like, you know better. They're like, that the reason you can't, or not that you can, but won't, is because it takes away the growth pattern for you. And so if you shift without doing any of the work, you haven't learned the lessons. You would have no idea how you got there. But if you put in the work, and that doesn't mean trudging along in the trenches for 20 more years, it just means, okay, I'm recognizing that, again, intuitively, this is how I feel when I think or do that. I'm going to lean more into this. And as you continue to do that, you shift, and you are, again, exponentially growing because your soul is feeling more and more aligned with that energy. So you will get there, but you can't just do it like this, or you've missed an opportunity for growth, which is why you all are here on this earth, is to have your soul feel more, not just growth, but you're learning lessons here in a state of advancement that you could never learn in such quick succession on the other side.
But okay, I know it's an eternal shift, but what do we need to do?
You really need to listen to yourself. And so it's as simple as, so we'll just use this client as an example. And Sarah, because you see her, and it's like, you're still sad about Drew. Like, why? Like, he didn't treat you. Like, stop. Why are you crying about someone who like didn't treat you well? And so she needs to recognize in those moments, instead of like crying, it's like, what are you crying about? You're crying about something that never actually even felt good. So again, it's listening to that intuition. Like, why am I actually sad? And for her, it's sad because she put in effort that wasn't reciprocated. She had a hope and ideal for a life that never came to be, but that is what it is. And so you just recognize it, and you can say, yeah, you know what? That sucks. And there's probably going to be a few more moments through this process that are really going to suck. But let's not stand in front of the kitchen sink and cry tears into there for 5 hours a day. Let's just recognize that it sucks and move on. And so all of you have the ability to do that. You have the ability to say, ooh, like, ouch, that situation didn't feel good. What that person said didn't feel right. And say, that sucked, but not ruminate about it in your head and continue to process those emotions over and over and over, because then what you're doing is you're sitting in that energetic space and you're disallowing yourself to transition into a space that is more in an alignment with that 4D and 5D space that you were wanting to transition to. So we're not saying to not ever grieve or not ever to feel sad, but more to just acknowledge the feeling and say, yeah, that is a feeling, but that is not the feeling in the space that I want to sit in. And so you don't even have to have the plan for what do I need to get into the space I want to feel better in all the time. All you have to do is recognize that that's not the space you want to be in, and then look around for what makes you feel a little bit better and start leaning more into that.
So is that all that we need to do? Like, listen to ourselves?
It truly is. And we know it sounds so simplistic, and that you probably want some more grandiose answer, but it really is that, because the experience for you is to delve more internal and be in touch with what is happening inside, because that is your guidepost. That is where the real lighthouse exists, not external. And many of you want to find the answer outside of you, but what you need to recognize is, what is outside of me? Does that resonate with what's inside of me? And it really is about building up that internal component and that internal sense of direction and strength within your own soul.
Okay, thanks. How do we effectively keep our pineal gland activated and healthy?
Oh, we just feel like we frustrate you because we say the same messages, and we know sometimes you want new information, but it really, again, goes back to the basics. So less screen time is going to be huge. Your whole brain starts to recircuit itself when you look at social media, even really great things that come on. So we're saying, Sarah, this is no dig to you because you do a lot on social media, and it's wonderful, because if you didn't, you wouldn't have brought this whole group here. It's an extremely beneficial platform that allows quick messaging to get out to so many people and reach so many people. But what we will say to people in this group is that once you've received the message that you need, you don't need to keep watching that same message over and over and over on that device. Write the message down. If Sarah says something you love, jot it down on a piece of paper, read it to yourself, but don't go and find the video every time and re-watch it online, because
I mean,
she's like, no, that's great, because the subscription. Okay, you can press play and maybe listen to it in the background, but we want you to get away from the screen. Essentially, what we're like, don't let the blue light, even again the messaging. When Sarah posts something on YouTube, there are people that hack in and do little subliminal messages. They can, not in every video she does, but they do this. So pull out the messaging that, again, resonates with you, and then don't feel the need to rely on, sitting and watching that again. And we want to support Sarah. We are supporting Sarah from the other side. So we will tell Sarah that you don't need everyone in here to watch it all, because we're going to increase your subscription base to be large, and you're going to generate what you need to fulfill the work that you're doing. But we do need this messaging to get out, because even small clips on Instagram that you watch, it's like, okay, there's a reel, I'll watch 20 seconds here, and your brain's like, okay, thank you, that was a great 20 seconds. Ooh, I'm processing it, that feels good. Okay, anyways, on to the next 20-second clip, blah, blah, blah. And you're not ever giving yourself the chance to allow your brain to fully complete a circuit. It's almost like it's, what's the word here? They're trying to give it to me. What's it when the circuits aren't you're short-circuiting your brains by watching clips, and not ever fully integrating the knowledge. And so sit with it a little bit, and that will help your pineal gland heal and strengthen and build itself.
Is there anything else we could do for our pineal gland?
Yes. All the things we said, the sunshine, the grounding, the diet, the water, and we don't know fully the vibe in this room. Well, that's a lie. We totally know the vibe in this room. We're just going to say this. Prayer, and this doesn't have to be linked to our religion, and we know that there are feelings about organized religion, but we want to encourage all of you to start separating yourself from any of those past fears or dogmas or experiences that you had that might not have been good, that have led you to feel like prayer is not advantageous, because prayer is so powerful. You're speaking aloud a wish for your future. You are putting out into the world words to help you manifest your desires, and your ears are part of your senses. And so you're speaking aloud something, and your body's actually then hearing it versus just thinking it. We hear your thoughts. If you allow us to, we can hear what you're thinking without speaking, but speaking also allows an added layer of integration of what you really are wanting, and it activates your pineal gland. It actually starts vibrating. It has to do with the tone in your voice and the vibrations that come out. So that's another great way to strengthen that, and just again strengthen your connection to all of the guides and the supports and the energy that you have out there. Again, you are all energy, and so let that energy flow out. It's just another way to connect with the particles in the universe and draw back to you what you really are wanting to align with.
Okay, thank you. Can you clarify why Jesus or God consciousness is coming up for people more and more this year in 2025?
So one of the individuals talked about this today already during introductions, about how God wasn't there as a speaker, essential. So not God, sorry, Yeshua or Jesus, whatever you prefer to call him. He says, I don't care. You can call me whatever you want. There seems to be, he says, so many people are now saying it's Yeshua. And he's like, it's whatever you want. He's like, I'm more, and an energy is how he views himself versus a name. So it's that energy. However you connect with him, if he's saying you can even call me a them, it doesn't matter. It's my energy. But essentially, the reason that this is coming more to the forefront again is because there is a realization now that what the organized religious sects portrayed him to be wasn't completely factual, and there's an awakening happening to want to connect with him in the way that he actually was, which was a teacher, and wasn't to be put on a pedestal above anyone else. You need to be like me. He was a teacher of what could be and how you could integrate, and there is a real desire to understand that better, because the energy that he brought in the past times where he was incarnated is the energy that he wished had been coming forth in that time period. He he came to Earth and was met with so much resistance, and that resistance is still here in this time, but there's more of you awakening and wanting to lean into the energy that he brought. And so he's incredibly excited to see that happening. And so really all it is more of a matching of energies. There's more of an openness and a looking for that, and an understanding of, oh, I see you, and I understand what you actually were trying to bring to the table, and seeking out of that.
Thank you. Kathy was wondering, she was stung by hornets and then 3 weeks later by yellow jackets. Is there any benefit to being stung, and what's really in bee venom?
So there are a lot of great properties that exist in the venom of bees, and there are properties that can, again, be completely catastrophic. And it has a lot to do with where your body is at that time and place. If you already are full of a toxic overload, if you naturally have histamine responses already because your body has viral overload or parasitic, toxins, etc., already happening in your body, the sting from one of those could be very detrimental to your health, just because it's an added injection of external source that your body now has to contend with. But for someone who is in a state that can accept that, it can actually start to help with your DNA that flows through your bloodlines, and it can start activating things within your blood that are going to help with your ascension. And that is why they were incredibly attracted to Kathy, because they know that she's opening and opening and opening and ready for this. And so the sting, some people would say, oh, she's being stung because, it's like she needs to wake up, and they're trying to tell her to wake up, but that isn't it at all. She is awakened. She is awakening, and they are coming to help with that ascension. It wasn't a message that you need to wake up. You already are. And they were stinging you to infuse you with properties that will help you do that.
Thank you. Wonderful. Someone was wondering, has everyone at this workshop known each other in some way, maybe in other past lives? I know you talked about the water, but have we known each other before in this particular workshop?
So they're saying this is actually a super, super unique group, because Sarah, I've not been at every one of your workshops, but I've never been told that everyone in a room has a connection before, ever. Usually it's some people do, there's a groups of 3, but they're saying in this group that at one time or another, there has been a connection with each and every person here in a past life, or a connection on the other side where you work closely together to plan lives or help the growth of Mother Earth. And so there's never been a group they're showing me that you've done where every single person has had a connection, and this group is the one.
Can you tell us where this was?
So they're saying that it's not like you all incarnated in another place all at the exact same time. You have overlap. They're showing me like this. And so maybe 10 of you were in this life together, and then those 5 people from that came and met 5 people from this lifetime, and then those 5 from there. It's like they're showing the Tetris game again. So you all have been connected in one way or another throughout time, but not necessarily all at the same time.
Okay. All right. What were the red crystals that were used in Avalon called? What were they called, the red crystals? Do they have a name?
I'm like, really? They're like crystals. We call them crystals. But they're saying that there was a group in Avalon, the women there, they actually referred to them often as berries. And it was just, again, the red glow. And they were really, again, in tune with Earth and all that she offered. And the way that they could use those crystals there or see the changes of the color of red was really interesting. And they said if you look at the different berry spectrum, strawberries, raspberries, there's even like a winter berry that is more like a very carnation kind of red. They're showing me all of those, and that's why they call them like the berry crystals, because they, depending on how they were being used or the intention that was being imbued in them at that moment, they would glow a different kind of red. So they were always red, but the spectrum of red could change.
In your civilization, what do you call them?
So I don't know if I'm going to say this right. They're saying it's spelled ARKA, and I'm saying ARCA, and I kept saying it over and over in my head, and they're like, close enough. They call it, so ARCA is what they would call that crystal, and they are telling me that it comes from something in their language that has to do with a representation that we would understand about an arc of energy. So they're saying that that would be spelt differently here for us, but it is the energy that comes out of a crystal essentially forms like a rainbow arc. And so that is where essentially it came from in their civilization, and it's called ARCA, ARKA.
In your civilization, is it used for anything, or what would you use it for if you could?
So the civilization that we came from, we did not use that. We know of what you speak of, and we have seen the uses that they have. We know planets of where these came from, but on our planet and for the uses that we use crystals for, we don't use ARCA at all, but we know of them. We know where they are. We know how they've been used in the past. We know where they've come from, but we personally do not use ARCA.
If you were to use it, what would you use it for?
So it can be used for, it's actually incredibly versatile. So you could use it to even like the spacecrafts that we have, you could use it on there to help with a very slow trickle almost of energy. They are they're so powerful that you could place it in your spacecraft and you could have a slow, almost like a trickle charger for a battery, and it could power our spacecraft almost forever as long as you regenerate back to it. And so the way to keep crystals, all crystals are saying, charged is by giving them energy. So when you take a crystal and you take it home and you throw it in your dresser drawer and close it or keep it in a backpack, you're allowing the energy to stagnate and almost shut off. But if you take the energy, if you take it out and just infuse your energy into that crystal or put it into the sun or into the moon and allow it to charge, it builds up and amplifies the properties that are in it. And so we know how to do that, and we know how to keep the crystals charged essentially and allow it to power things. They can also be a way to power ourselves. So they can be a method of healing. So if we took them and we placed them in the palms of our hands, we've mentioned this in the past, that your chakras for humans, you have heart chakras that also exist in the palms of your hands as well as in your chakra center line. So holding the chakras in your hands allows the connection there to turn on the crystals. And we are aware of that in our culture too. In the way that our bodies are formed, our heart chakras also exist in the palm. So we know we could hold that and allow them to provide healing. We don't have as much sickness as you do, so we don't really have a use for them like you do. But if we had, like, for example, a crash landing of our spacecraft and could somehow get access to the ARCA really quickly, then we would be able to heal people more quickly. But we have other ways and we have other things that we use. So we just don't use ARCA, but those are ways that we could.
What do you use to heal?
So we have our own crystals that came from our own home planet. They glow more almost like a lime green, like something you would see like slime, like, you know, that ghost in some of your, like the green slime guy. It's that color. We have that, and we use that a lot. And we do very similar things. We hold them for healing. They're almost like a torch. We can light them up and they can light the way for us. We know how to use the power within our minds to activate the crystals. And we use the green crystals for most of our needs. And again, they're very versatile like the ARCA was. But we just don't have the same need for the ARCA because we came with our own technology.
Okay, thank you. How can Evita activate her magical powers? Well, how can we all activate our magical powers?
That's the question.
Too,
That actually is the question, because it's so similar for so many of you, actually for all of you. So Sarah, what we would encourage for this whole group, and we know it's a little bit cold, but you're speaking through the subject who lives in Alberta, Canada, so she's kind of giggling at all. You're like, that's not that cold. But at one of the workshops you did, you had the whole group go down and put their feet into the water. There's this beautiful trickling creek behind this property that is so incredibly powerful. So we would encourage all of you to almost do what we would say is like a cold plunge. It doesn't mean full body. We're not saying full body, but if you take your shoes off, roll up your pants and wade through the stream and take the time to just let this water flow over you, you are going to be activated in such immense ways. And if you could all find it in yourselves to allow the frigid cold to bathe over you together, it would be so amplified, because again, you all came here with this water energy. So if you could be in that space, all allowing that flow to go over you at the same time, you will find that your magical powers and the activations you're looking for would be occurring at amazing speeds, but it really would be power in numbers. So if you go in there by yourself, you're still going to feel the magic, but if you go together, even more so.
Okay, so if we did that, like we go and is there anything specifically we need to do so that we can all activate? And I have another question. We did this before and you said we would look younger afterwards. And I didn't really notice a difference.
So, Sarah, we would tell you what we've said in the past. I think this came through at the Arkansas workshop, if we're remembering quickly or remembering correctly, but you need to look at yourself through the eyes of others. And can we say in this group, how do we look at Sarah? Does she look young to us? Yes. That's what we see too. So we think she looks young. So what you tend to do is you look in the mirror, and you could even lose 20 pounds overnight, and you would look in the mirror and almost still see yourself the same as you did yesterday, because you've been conditioned to viewing yourself that way. So you need to try to look, all of you, through the eyes of the way that other people see you, for yourself to really experience the shift, because we do think you look very young and we do think you look younger. And the best way to have the most magical experience, and we don't know where you could find this, but if any of you brought crystals with you, or if you go out onto the land and look for a rock that has like a crystal component to it, like even some quartz sprinkled within it, and go to that water and each have a crystal in the palms of your hands, because we just talked about the importance of the heart chakra, and hold hands with the crystals in your palm while you're in the water. And this is going to do one of two things. It's going to activate the power of the crystals and have that spread through all of you that way. And again, the heart chakras, what do you think your heart does? It pumps the vitality within you through your whole system. So you're opening up the heart, you're encouraging it to strengthen and pump that beautiful energy through your entire system. And your body, your blood, is made up so heavily of, again, that water component. So we want your heart to be feeling very strong, and allow that to pump through your entire system, and allow all the magic and activations to completely flow through your body. So that would be a very, very magical way to really have the energy pour forth.
Thank you. Does it matter if it's during the day or at night? Because I was thinking we would do it Sunday.
It honestly, it doesn't matter, but we will say if you choose to do it at night to be safe, obviously going up, but take some candles. Try not to use the cell phone light. If you could have candles if you were doing it at nighttime, that would be better for the energy and for the connection of your energies. Again, get away from that blue light and that sort of technology. But if you're doing it in the day, leave your phones here too, but you won't need the candle light to guide you.
Thank you. Is there anything else about Avita activating her magical powers that you want to share?
Yes, we do. We just want to encourage her to step into that and not be resistant to a nugget of information that comes through that even to her might sound crazy, that, you know, you're not all on the same spiritual journey, even though you came here because you were awakened in a similar way. There are going to be pathways that each of you go down that are individualistic to each and every one of you, and that is what we want. We need more people to branch out into their own area of individuality within the spiritual world. And so if you get something that comes through into your mind, and oftentimes those of us working with you on the other side try to send you something, don't discount it immediately as being crazy. Allow yourself to sit with that for a minute and tap into it and be like, well, how could I do that? And how might that work for me? And that again really goes for all of you, but just not to discount the gifts that you have and the way that you can utilize your own specific energy to really make those gifts become magic.
Okay. Henry's mom was wondering, how could she best help her son with depression and addiction?
It's so hard, and we've talked about this in past sessions. So there is, it's a twofold answer, because there's strength to be found through overcoming these things. And so again, it's not something just to be completely wiped out, because people that go through depression and addiction have empathy for those that are also experiencing that, when they either are going through that or come out of it and are able to support. So we need to recognize that although these situations are really tough, that there is a benefit to people going through this. Now, we don't want people to stay in that state forever, because if you do, they can actually start to lose their soul, essentially. Their life vitality can completely drain from them. So there is this balance where you're learning and you're growing and you're immersing yourself in that. And then there's a point where you sink so deep into it that you're not even there anymore. So it's gently nudging and watching so that they don't dip down that low, and allowing them to gradually be pulled back into the light. And ways that you can do that are what we've already said. So again, encouraging them to stay hydrated, and maybe there's like a juice that they love that you can pour half juice, half water, like just ways that you can start to take away some of the things that they rely on, because people that are depressed or addicted, they're not naturally reaching for healthy things. They're reaching for something that gives them a kick or makes them feel better in that instance. So, there is, again, like a dopamine rush. There's like a comfort from even like crisping on a chip or biting into a cupcake. But those things ultimately are very fleeting in the helpfulness to the emotional state. What they end up doing is actually creating more disturbances within the body. And so it's encouraging those dietary changes to occur. It's limiting the bad where you can. But at first, it probably is just increasing the good. So, don't take the bag of chips, don't take the pop and strip it away from them, because that almost is like going to be a shock to their system and create a lot of anger. But start by adding good things in. So having the pop or having the pizza with a huge salad, or, a side of veggies, and start bringing those things in and encouraging the water intake. And then, excuse me, just again, enveloping them with your love. But there is a way to do that. And again, when you did introductions, like, just see how powerful you all were, because these nuggets were already coming forth. Someone talked about loved ones and how you can't essentially force your views on them. And that is where the people in addicted and depressive states are. You can't be like, you need to be happier, or you have to stop doing this, because it's just not going to completely resonate. But you can send love and healing from a room that's separate from where they're sitting, and send that energy to them, and they're going to feel it. And we want to again encourage the power of prayer. Put out to the universe what you need help with. Set that intention aloud. Allow that energy vibration to flow directly to your loved one and help them heal that way too. And then, of course, we're going to say it again, try to decrease the technology and have them get outside. And sometimes that is going to feel like torture for them. People that are in a depressed state, they almost don't want to see the brightness. They want to stay in dark rooms with closed shutters and shades, because that is the energy that they're in. But once you pull them outside, and believe me, sometimes they're showing you're actually going to have to pull them outside, get them out into the sun, get them grounding with that earth, and their body starts to waken again to the healing that can happen there. And they're not going to even understand what happens. But the more and more and more and more you get them outside into the sunshine, connecting with the earth, the more it's not going to be such a pull. It's going to get easier and easier and easier. And you're going to start seeing changes occur when you get them back inside your home. So it's not always an easy fix, and it's not always something that needs to be fixed in that exact moment. It's a balance, and it's a watching, and it's an extremely beautiful question for you to even ask, because it really is it can be energetically taxing on you as a parent to watch that struggle. And the fact that you care so much and are asking the question just shows what a lucky soul your child has to have charted that you would be their parent. So we're very grateful that you are, and that you're looking out for them, and thank you for keeping watch over their soul.
Sweet. Carolyn was wondering, why does she get ocular migraines?
So again, twofold answer. We're seeing this come up a lot, the twos today. So there's something happening there, but they're saying that it is that her soul was aware of what she was going to come in and experience on earth to a degree, as much as you can all have an awareness from your perspective on the other side. But oftentimes when you get here on earth and you feel the heaviness and the weight and the gravity of the situations and what's occurring on this planet, it can end up being a lot heavier than you actually anticipated. And so what happens with these ocular migraines is that she's actually trying to block her sight out from seeing some of the things that are happening on this earth, because it's been so heavy on her soul. On a subconscious level, on a conscious level, it's been a lot for her to take in. So she's almost physically trying to block out some of what she's seeing. Now, the other part of it, again, has to do with the toxins, etc., that we're speaking of in this world. And that is a part and parcel to why these migraines are occurring. But it's separate from the ocular piece. So the ocular piece is what we just spoke of. But the migraines themselves, that the allowance of the presentation to come through really stems from the toxic overload within the planet as a whole. So everything, again, that we've already said multiple times, we would encourage her to do. And just like we did with all of you here to help with the sense, like, are you guys feeling a little bit better since we did that? Because this subject had a migraine when we put her under, and she no longer has it. So again, it's a reminder that you have the power to take a breath, to ground your energy with the earth, and to shield yourself from things that don't serve you. And so allowing that moment of just clarity and taking that space for yourself, that will help decrease some of the migraines that are happening. And then just remind yourself that you charted this path for yourself and that it isn't real. And so that is something to tell yourself. It feels so real, but this isn't real. And everything that's happening and everything I'm seeing, as heavy as it is, it was all charted and it was all meant to be for a reason. And I am here for a reason. And I am only this one person, and I can't take on the worries of the whole world. I can influence my sphere. I can influence my circle, but I can't influence the entirety of this planet. And so you have to speak that aloud, think that in your mind, and then your body will start to settle and realize that, okay, wait, this isn't for me to carry on my entire shoulders. And you will start to see a reduction of the worst symptoms that you're feeling with those migraines.
Thank you. Who really controls the chemtrails, and how can we protect ourselves, like on our kids, our food, our water, our animals? Like, who really controls the chemtrails?
So the chemtrails are controlled by groups that have so much money that none of you would even know who they are. So we're not talking about the Rockefellers. We're not talking about people that you think are the richest of the rich. We're talking about people that have so much money that you don't even know who they are, and they will never let you know who they are. And what was the other question? How do you protect yourself again?
Do you protect yourself?
So we've talked about this again very, very, very often, and it's everything that we said. You need to find ways to nourish your body and have your body be connected with things that can help sustain it. And that really is Mother Earth. She's like saying, I'm here to support you. They're harming me, but you are not harming me, and I want to support you. And so get out and put your feet on my grass. Hug a tree, because she's showing me that the roots that you planted as we started this session today, they are waiting to be. The trees are like welcoming you to ground and protect with them. And just like the trees breathe oxygen into our air, they can breathe oxygen into your bloodstream just by that connection point. So it really is doing what you can to connect with Mother Earth, to reduce the toxins and poisons that you're putting in your system, and setting intentions. So you can change the molecular structure of whatever you're putting in your body just by setting an intention. So if you are in a place, for example, that doesn't have access to the cleanest, most purified water, set an intention that that water is going to be cleansed, and that whatever you're drinking is going to be pulling out the best nutrients for you and for what your body needs. And just reminding yourself, when you look back at prayer, again, if you look into Christianity, and when people would sit down at the table and bless food, that actually came from a really great place that got lost over the years. But the idea of the blessing is to bless the food to be the best that it can be for you, and also obviously to give thanks for Mother Earth for providing what she did. And if you do eat animal products, for thanking that soul, because there was an agreement between animals and you as humans to share a soul experience to be able to be sustained. Now, humans have taken that way overboard and are using animals in ways and in quantities that we just never dreamed would ever come to fruition. But we don't want to make anyone feel bad here. But when you are, sitting down for a meal, saying thank you and blessing for not only yourself, but for who gave you that food and the life that you may be ingesting is really, really important.
Thank you. How can we best support the Mother Earth at this time in her ascension journey?
So she says, connect with me, see me, speak to me. You walk on me every day, you drive on me every day, you fly in my air, and you don't even acknowledge me. And she says, I am here supporting you with energy in every way possible, and all I want is recognition. And it's not that I need to be put on a pedestal, but by you recognizing me, it allows my energy and the goodness that I carry to increase. And when I'm not recognized and essentially just abused, my energy can't be amplified to the extent that it should be. And so I'm just wanting you to recognize me and thank me for what I do provide, because I provide you with so much, and I try to. And there are people in power that are really trying to dull the energy that I bring forth to you. But I am here. I am the soil that your food is growing in. I am the sun that comes down from the sky to bathe on your skin. I am everywhere. And I just, would appreciate some acknowledgement, and then, be gentle with this creation that I have here for you. You don't have to go out and trample on me if you don't need to. Be cognizant of the way that you're interacting with me. And the more cognizant you are and the more gentle you are, you're going to find that you are reciprocated with my energies in that same way. And you can find healing through this mutual exchange of energy. And it really is what you give out is what you're going to get back. And that works with me too. And so acknowledging me, respecting me, but really truly that acknowledgement piece is huge. So go out and touch a tree. You don't have to hug it, but just say thank you. I am all around you and everything, and just wanting that recognition and acknowledgement, because we really are here with our energy trying to provide for you.
Thank you. What can you tell us about the boogosphere?
Okay, they're just so funny. They're like boogie boogie boo, like they're like the boogeyman. But there is what they want me to say, that there's a boogosphere. Essentially, they're showing me like a coating around the sphere of the Earth, and they're showing me again twofold. So there's two things again that are happening. There is like this film that's around the Earth right now that has to do with pollution, and it's trying to keep toxic substances essentially within your atmosphere. So again, when we talk about energy is a flow, it's an exchange, but they don't want energy to flow the way that it naturally should. And so those in power have been able, through pollution and other means, chemicals, etc., to put this almost film around your earth and create this new spherical content to really keep this heaviness, this toxic load within your planet. But we're talking to you, your friendly ETs here. We're talking to you to let you know that we are poking holes in that, and we are allowing that your energy, the toxic stuff to flow out, and the energy of us and the people that want to help you to flow in. So there are two sort of spherical things happening, but we will continue to support you and poke holes in all of the areas that don't serve you. And that's one of the ways that we're doing that right now.
Okay, well, I'm referring to this metallic like sphere that people found, or I think they found, and they refer to it as, we refer to it as the Buga sphere, and it has some symbols on it. It's metallic. It's like spherical in shape, but people are researching it, trying to figure out if it was extraterrestrial. It just all of a sudden showed up here. So, yes.
Oh, we thank you for the clarification. We do not call it that. So when you talk about the sphere, we think about the spherical issues that are happening around your planet, but we do know what you're speaking of. That was not an alien craft. That wasn't an alien infiltration. That was a piece of metallic metal that already existed on your Earth that did have influence from ETs to place the drawings, to place the symbology that is on there. And it has been around for thousands of years, just like other symbols, other books, other things have been that were hidden but are now starting to come to light. And so just like you look at a crop circle and your energy or your mind is awakened in a way it hasn't been before, that's happening when you look on the symbology on this item. And it doesn't have to be that you fully understand it. Your soul understands it, and there's a soul recognition there. And it's just another way that old knowledge is coming to the forefront now to activate your DNA, to activate your awareness, to activate old soul pathways and connections within your soul and within your heart to help with the ascension that you are all on the pathway of working towards.
Thank you. What is Brandon's purpose, and how can he connect with the elements of fully embody the divine masculine so he can become the best version of himself?
So in order to become the divine masculine, you need to have a great respect for the divine feminine. And so we would say that there's a misunderstanding with men who are looking to step into the masculine, that means a removal of the feminine energy. But a divine masculine human actually carries a lot of the feminine components, but in their own way, which is a respect for the divine feminine. So you appreciate women, you appreciate the divine feminine that is on this planet and all of that, the energy that brings. And by being more appreciative of what women bring to this world and their role and how you can support them and help them flourish, that will naturally help you to step more into that divine masculine role, which really is to be a supporter on this planet, to be a safety net, to be a powerful presence that allows that divine woman to feel like she can be in a secure space and is safe enough to be in her full expression. So it really is remembering that you can never be one without the other, that it's a balance of the two and paying respect to each other. And was there another part of that question?
Yeah, what is his purpose in this life?
So we would say his purpose is hugely, hugely that, because there was a link in a previous lifetime for him where he did have a Templar link. And that Templar symbology just is all about that very masculine, it really is. It's just a lot about the masculinity. But if you start to delve deep into the origins of the Knights Templar, they really understood the balance of the divine feminine and the masculine. But what has come forth into the information into this new age is that they were these warriors and masculine, and that feminine balance has been stripped almost away from what you are aware of in this world. But it is time to bring that back and show men that you can only be this masculine version of yourself in a really healthy way if you honor the feminine as well.
Wow, thank you. What, Jay is wondering, why do so many of us have significant others who don't believe in this?
Oh, it's such a good question.
I know.
Such a good question. And
We
again, they're
all
showing
wanna
me
know.
two. So there's two answers to this. And one is that it is for the ascension of your soul, because they're making you work for it essentially. It's like, how much do I believe in this? Because if I tell someone and they're like, you're crazy, you're like, yeah, maybe I am, then you're not stepping into your power. So it makes you really start to become more discerning about your own beliefs, and how much are you willing to be able to turn away from those beliefs based on other people's opinions. So it actually allows you to fortify yourself and become stronger in what you believe. And then it actually allows these individuals who don't believe in it at all, and their souls aren't quite caught up to the area that you are. And it doesn't mean their souls are less than, it just means that they're not in the same place of learnedness quite yet, and you're opening them up to it even though they're not open to it. So again, it's the idea of a crop circle. Just looking at it opens something in it. By them just being around you and being in that energy and hearing a few things that you talk about, they on a conscious level may say that they don't agree, but on a soul level, their souls are like, yes you do. And so it's opening up, and everyone on their own time, in their own rate, and you are helping them get there, even though on some days it may seem like you're not at all.
Thank you. Why have mosquitoes been following him around?
So mosquitoes are attracted to people for various reasons. One is like carbon monoxide that you give off. It's like a smell from your body. If you have hair on your legs and arms, they can be attracted to that. These are the things that you can read about in your science textbooks. But one thing that we can say to you that you might not know from more of a spiritual level is that they have been around since the dawn of time. And people who have been incarnated over and over and over again, who have also been around from the dawn of time, it's like they have this weird soul bond, and it's like they smell you and it's like, oh, I know you. You're from way back then too. And so people who have mosquitoes that are attracted to them like crazy. Some people can go out into the world and a mosquito is like not really all that interested, but some people go out into the world and mosquitoes swarm to them, and it is a recognition of a smell that is from previous lifetimes, and almost at a soul molecular level that way. And so you have had many incarnations, as have they, and it's just a natural, almost like you're a beacon for them and a remembering for them, and they're naturally attracted to you because of that as well.
I once asked for a natural remedy to like totally get rid of mosquitoes, and I was told by the higher self, if you use animal poop and charcoal, it'll work. Is there any more practical remedies that you could share?
Well, this higher self is saying that's hilarious and not at all necessary. And all we're saying is like, you might get rid of some mosquitoes, but you're sure going to attract a lot of flies. So it's like, what do you want? What we would say again is more of an internal remedy, because your body is excreting sweat, and that is what's attracting the mosquitoes essentially. So you want to have a balanced internal system. So if you drink caffeine and you drink alcohol, or you drink things that dehydrate you, you give off a scent that really attracts these mosquitoes. So from the internal sense, hydrate yourself again. Drink lots of water, drink herbal teas. If you drink herbal peppermint tea, that is a natural smell that they don't love. So those would be good ones. But again, it really for us would be the suggestions that it is an internal change to your system versus something that you would put on externally.
Okay. How do we activate our Kundalini?
That's a great question. And it goes back almost to the concept that we just were speaking about for Brandon, where we mentioned the divine masculine and divine feminine. And the activation of the Kundalini is really amplified when you balance that within yourself. So we ask that each of you look at your lives right now and where you may be out of balance. So are you with a partner who expects you to carry the load of more of the masculine and do all of the feminine? And are you carrying both of those things in a little bit out of balance? Like, where in your life do you see that you are putting more energy into one area than the other? Because even if you're female, you should be balanced in the divine masculine and feminine, and you can be taken off balance if you're with a partner who isn't stepped fully into the area that they should be. But look at your own life and look at where you might be out of balance and try to find a way to balance that, because that is where the Kundalini energy really starts to flow, is in that state of balance.
Okay, thank you. Linda's son, Guillaume, was born in a very dramatic way and has always been mysterious. What could be shared about her son, Guillaume? Sorry if I'm saying it wrong.
So he does have an air of mystery around him, and it's a beautiful thing. But what we want you to actually encourage is for him to be less mysterious, to tap into the air of mystery is around there because he has gifts, but he needs to walk with those gifts instead of walking almost beside those gifts and having them be this air of mystery. You need to have him step more into his power. And so we would encourage you to have him find what that is. So, what again resonates with him. And this is a message that goes for all of you. If you're wondering, what should I do with my life? Or is this career good for me? Or is this partner good for me? All you have to do is tune into your energy. And does your body clench and tense up when you think of that person or that job or this place to live? Does it feel like a knot in your stomach, or does your energy get constricted? Because that's a no. If you feel more of a flow or an ease of your energy, that is a yes. And so we would encourage you to have your son start tapping into the metaphysical, but finding which area resonates with him, because he does have some magical gifts, but we want him to be less mysterious and more integrated into what those are.
Thank you. Nidhi was wondering, will her husband ever align with her spiritually? And if so, how does she make this happen?
So that is a very strong yes that's coming through. Oh, wow. So what is happening with some of your partners that seem like they're not interested at all? Again, there are changes that are happening on a soul level. And once the soul almost cracks through the egg, and it's like a bird coming out, and I'm like breaking free, like I'm here. Once that egg and that shell is cracked open, it cannot go back. And so there are small cracks and fissures that are happening in his egg right now, is what they're showing me. And once it cracks open, he is going to, like a bird, like flying free, quickly meet you where you are, and you will be able to start ascending along your journey more in tandem with one another. Now, we are going to tell you that's not going to be the same for each and every one of you with your partners in this room, but for Nidya, that absolutely is going to happen.
Okay, thank you. For Rachel, she's wondering, what is she carrying in her body, and how can she release it? Can you scan her body?
Oh, okay. There's something happening here in the throat area, and there's something that's making me not feel very good. So there's like a heaviness in there, like there's not, like energy isn't flowing properly. So I'm getting like a little bit of sweaty palms, heavy energy, like just this sort of denseness, and the throat area here feels really blocked. So she needs to speak her truth more, not make herself small if she's doing that anyway. Allow her voice to be strong and present, and recognize that her voice matters, to speak her truth, and to then, okay, I can already feel the lightness happening. That's exactly what it is. They're saying that she needs to step into her truth more and speak it, and then her energy is going to start flowing better. So right now, there's a buildup of energy that's causing a heaviness in her body, and that energy, as we all know, we've said already today, energy is meant to flow. It's never meant to build up in your system and become stagnant or held tightly in that space. It needs to be released, and it doesn't mean when you release something that it's gone forever. It's going to come back cyclically and in hopefully a better way. But if you hold on to energy and don't let it release, it can actually make you sick in your body. And so there's a heaviness that's starting to form in her body that is actually causing the starting of some illness. And so what we really want her to do is release, speak her truth, step into her power, and that should all start flowing so much better.
Okay. What can you tell Abby about what does she need to know to release her chronic neck and throat chakra pain?
So they're saying the words no coincidences. It has a lot to do with what we just talked about, energy flow. It's not the same as far as speaking your truth, but it's the fact that your energy has been building up and there's not a release. And so that's holding on tightly to certain emotions, to certain predispositioned beliefs on what your life should look like, or wanting and desiring it to be a certain way that maybe it hasn't actually fully worked out to be, and be more accepting that, you know, really this is out of your control, just the way that life works, that you can't control every outcome, and allowing the tension that resides in those areas to be released. When you release that sense of control and need for things to be a certain way, and allow the energy then to start flowing at a better rate, and those chakras right now, they're working. We've told the subject before, no chakra is ever completely blocked, but they may not be circulating in the most helpful, healthy ways. And again, it's because this energy is being so tightly held in those areas. But if you allow that need for control to be released, and you allow that energy to flow out, those areas are going to start to have energetic flow, and blood flow to those areas is going to increase. Your shoulders are going to start to become less tense and not up so much by your ears. They're going to come down and be held more into a state of ease, and that should all help reduce your pain.
Thanks. Kate is wondering, is there something that she can do to facilitate healing in her relationship with her daughter, Amanda?
So we would again link back to the idea of speaking aloud. So sometimes two people in the physical bodies getting in the same space and trying to talk it out isn't able to work right away. We do see you being able to get there with your daughter, but we think that your higher selves almost need to start speaking to one another first. So we would ask you to ask your higher self for permission to connect with her higher self and start having them speak together. And the way you do that is just by saying, this is what I really want her to hear and understand. And her higher self will hear that and can start funneling that energy down to her soul to make that actual physical human body connection easier for you as you move forward. And so just continuing that communication behind the scenes, and then in a gentle way, connecting with her, letting her know even on her worst days that you're still there for her, but not in an overpowering way. Like, not like, okay, I'm here for you. Like, you don't have to say that every day. You just have to like be there and let her know that you're there. And eventually, as you continue those things, you're going to see the tides turn with her, and your relationship is going to become stronger and more caring and more powerful and more vibrant.
Thank you. Jenny is wondering, is she meant to change direction in any aspect of her life?
They're being annoying because like they're showing me Forrest Gump right now because there's a Jenny in this and they're trying to get me to there's something in this movie that they're trying to get me to figure out. So just give me a second here. Okay, so I don't think that he ever offered Jenny the box of chocolates, but this is what they're trying to show me, that life is like a box of chocolates is what they want me to tell you, Jenny. And so that today you might feel like you're really interested in this, but it doesn't mean that you have to stay on that path because you've invested in that. So sometimes people say, well, I went to school for 4 years because I was really interested in that then, and now because I spent, $50,000 on this degree. I feel like I must stay in that. But they're saying life is a box of chocolates, and it's okay to put that chocolate back half eaten and pick out another one and start something else. That life is too short to be constrained to one area because of something as limiting as your own beliefs, like that you tied your finances into that, or that society thinks, I know I went to school for this, so I can't give up on that. That whatever interests you in that moment, that you have the divine right and sovereignty to make a decision to change, and to change as often as you want, and that your soul loves to learn. They're saying that is so clear, that your soul loves to learn. It enjoys trying new things, and so not to limit yourself that way, and just keep that analogy in mind, that it's like a box of chocolates and you're free to choose as often and as many as you would like.
Okay, thanks. Jean was wondering if she's a bridge. Oh my God, there's like a tick right here. Why is there a tick on this question? I'm sorry, you're fine. I just was really shocked just to pick.
Oh,
sorry. No.
Let's throw it in a fire.
Do it.
Okay. That is okay. I don't know. Should we still ask Jean's question? Maybe there's something else for Jean to know. That's weird.
Crazy.
Where did it come from?
Throw it in the fire.
Oh my gosh, that's crazy.
So weird. I'm sorry to wake you up.
No, I'll go right back. But we need to ask Jean's question.
Yeah.
Okay. There's something going on there. That's crazy. Oh my God.
Okay, sorry. Just taking a deep breath. I didn't mean to wake you up. Okay. And exhale. Just sink deeper and deeper, relaxed. Breathing in deeply and fully. As you exhale, just release any tensions, any worries, any thoughts. Connecting back with the higher consciousness. The question is Jean meant to be a bridge between Mother Earth to teach people something? And there was a tick on the question.
Okay.
Where did the tick come from, first of all?
Okay, so that is the clearest indication that we could give you about the connection with Mother Earth. And so say the question again.
Okay, but where did the tick come from?
Well, the tick came from Mother Earth, but the tick it's here for a reason. Say this question again.
She's wondering if she is a bridge between Mother Earth and teaching people about the connection of Mother Earth.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Yes. 100% yes. And that tick was the showing of the bridge. And they wanted to show all of us that even a tick that is viewed as something as disgusting and hurtful and not to be revered has its place in this world and is a gift from Mother Earth in its way. And so she is here to show that even parts of Mother Earth that people don't resonate with are gifts. And so that could be an earthworm that shows up in the dirt because we want all of you to become growers of your own food. So as you do that and dig your hands into the soil, people that have never done that before are going to be appalled. Ooh, there's a worm in there. There's a slug in there. There's, all of this stuff. And she can be a bridge into respecting and revering all of these pieces of Mother Earth that have not been revered for the longest time. And the tick was a direct representation, because what did we all say in here? Throw it in the fire. And who's the people that said outside? And that is the idea of a reverence for all of the parts of Mother Earth, and she will be the bridge into that understanding. And the more that we start to respect each and every part of Mother Earth, as disgusting as we find some of it, we have more of a connection to the resources that she has, and she will grant us more with abundance, because again, that reciprocal energy is flowing in the right way. But we naturally put up blocks to the abundance that we can receive from her when we engage in misunderstanding. So she will 100% be a bridge into having people look at all aspects of Mother Earth and come to appreciate them.
Okay, and where did the tick come from? Because it was not there when I looked away, and then I looked at the question and it was on the question.
Well, they were going to say we planted it, but they corrected and they said she planted it. So it was Mother Earth that planted that, and it was a symbol that she is here and around. And again, the more that you recognize her, which has just been done in this room tonight by asking the questions you have and allowing her to voice that she wants you to see her, she's showing a gift already by saying, see, I'm right here. You're not even outside, and I'm here. So
Thanks
it was
for the
her
gift, but I would prefer like a fairy or something else maybe next time. Okay, so what powers does breast milk hold?
So breast milk is like the liquids of the god, but they're saying that they need to be very clear that it's the liquid of the gods for the baby. Just like you drink cow's milk, that's not meant for you. It's meant for the baby of the cow. And breast milk is meant for human babies. It has every possible nutrient that they could need to develop. It's not something that can be replicated no matter how much the companies in power try. And believe me, they're not actually trying. They've made formulas that are imbued with things that make babies quite sick, and they're trying to start off by depressing their immune system from the time they come out of the birth canal. But even if you were an individual who had the highest intent and tried to replicate breast milk in a formula state that was good, you're never going to be able to do it, because it comes not just from the physiological and biological pathways within a mother. It comes from the love that is expressed to her child that develops while that baby is being carried in their womb. It's a vibrational frequency as well. So they share that when the baby is in the womb, and it's a continuation of that shared experience that's given through the breast milk that allows that baby to feel safe and secure. It's a reminder of when they felt that in the womb that's carried in an external manner. It really is an incredibly magical thing, but due to that connection, again, if you were to drink a woman's breast milk now, you're going to get some properties that are good, but it is not going to do for you what it does for the baby. And we just need to recognize that, again, when we look at the earth, that some things are just meant for some things. And that is, breast milk is really meant for that specific child. But they're saying, wait a second, don't just say that, because if there's a mom that lost her life today and couldn't provide breast milk for a baby, that feeling of love that she was able to express to her child could be given through another mother, because it's the idea of that mother, that mothering, they're saying. So it doesn't necessarily have to be that mom to that baby. It's the connection of the mother to the infant that really matters. So women that need to get breast milk from other women are providing their baby with the same gift, even if they aren't directly able to give that themselves.
Thank you. We have a bunch of questions about the 3i Atlas. Someone is wondering, are we welcome aboard the 3i Atlas? And someone else is wondering who exactly is on the 3i Atlas.
So Sarah's been asking
It's not my question.
No, Sarah's been asking something about some of this, the 3i Atlas, and there is a lot of interest in the 3i Atlas, and for good reason. But I think what we want to know, or want to share with all of you, and we did want Sarah to know this too, and we passed this message on through the subject just a few days ago, is that it's getting so much attention now. It's become almost, again, like beneficial for people in power, because you're looking over here while they're doing things over here. So the message we want to share with you is just like anything, like just be careful that it's a piece of the evolutionary pathway that the earth is on, and the journey that you're on. But we want you to recognize that nothing should be given such full attention, because it pulls you away from I guess more of a balanced approach to life, and you don't want to lose sight of other things that are happening. So we're going to put that caveat out there. But as far as who is on it, there are many people. It's not just a group. So we have people on it from our home planet that are on that. It has essentially become like a council of individuals, and there are two. Again, you really do need to look up two repeating twos after this, because it keeps coming. There are actually two 3i Atlases in the world right now, and there's one that is functioning with those of us that are of really high intent, and there is a replica that has been made that is not of high intent whatsoever. And that is, you're going to be drawn to one or the other, really depending where your energy is at this time. And so we are hoping to draw the white light and the white beings to ours so that you can have your DNA activated and you can have gifts for your ascension come to fruition. But there is another one that wants you to look more towards them, but it carries more of the darkness, and it is going to, again, match that darkness. So if you are, for example, in a state like the subject on those days that she is really feeling down, if she were to look at the dark 3-eye atlas, that energy is going to feel compatible, and she's going to be more drawn to that, and that's what they want, and they're going to be trying to bring that darkness out of you. But what we want is you to focus on the light. And so the only way to do that is just to try to settle yourself every day, to place yourself in a pyramid of white light, in a protective circle of white light, whatever resonates with you, to ground yourself with Mother Earth and to remind yourself that you are of light, that you are loved, and to provide yourself that protection throughout the day, and then you will more easily and naturally connect with the right 3-eye atlas. If you go into a space where you're around a bunch of people who have really scattered energy, who may have more dark energy or heaviness there, you may end up connecting more with the dark one. So there's a battle that we're fighting right now up in the skies, just in this simple way even. So in every way possible that the ascension is trying to occur, and that those of us that are trying to help you are trying to bring the light to you, there is always an opposing force that is trying to do the exact opposite. And so just be careful about where you're putting your energy and how you're protecting your energy during the day.
Okay, well, who made this other 3-eye atlas? Are there literally 2 physical objects? Like, I mean,
Yes.
What do we need to know? Like, what does the other one look like? Who made it? And how do we tell the difference?
They are, again, they look almost identical, but they don't resonate with the same frequency. So like we said earlier, if you were to see pictures of it, if you were to come across it, if you were to feel it, all you have to do is tap into what we already told you earlier. What happens with my body? Do I feel at ease? Do I feel lit from within? Or do I feel off and constricted? And that should tell you exactly which one you're connecting with. And as far as who built this, there are 3 different groups. And Sarah, you have connected with these groups before. When you put the subject under, you were able to, there was a group in Russia, there was a group near the Uinta Basin, and there was a group in Switzerland or Sweden that you connected with. And it is those 3 powerhouses that were able to get together and create this replica. And it is for all of the reasons that we've said before, to keep the dark energy flowing, to keep the population oppressed, any way to start to try to dim your light or have you from opening up to higher knowledge and higher power and stepping into your divine energy and your true inherent soul source energy. They will do everything they can to counteract that. And that's why they got together to do this, because they saw what we were creating. They do have people that Can you clear?
Oh yeah, just taking a deep breath. Can you clear Crystal's throat, please? Protect her throat. Release anything that's starting to bother her right now, so that she's fully protected. And if there's anything looking in on this session, that they will be blocked from this session, so that Crystal can speak easily, effortlessly, and we will not be watched in any way.
So that's exactly what they were starting to do there. And you've had this happen before. They've come and they know that you're talking about this, and they actually come and they send energy and they try to strangle her vocal cords. And that was just happening there. So what we were trying to have her say is that there are people that are incredibly intuitive, psychic, that work for these groups. They were not wanting to work with these groups. They were captured. They were kidnapped. they were convinced that these people were of benevolent intentions, to only find out later that they weren't. And so they have essentially at times been tortured to provide insight into things that are coming. So the 3-Eye Atlas and the technology and the way that this looked was shared by these individuals ahead of time, because they knew that we were coming and they knew what it would look like. And again, they didn't want to share this information, but they are being given almost no other choice. And so that enabled these powerhouses, these 3 powerhouses, to come together and make a replica, because each of these 3 powerhouses have these people that have been essentially held hostage. And they, just like Sarah will do a session with someone, and then if she wants to put something on YouTube or a live or put it in her book, she puts several other subjects of her hypnosis subjects under to see if they're getting the same information, to ensure that what she's going to put out is true. That's what these 3 powerhouses do. They say, okay, our 2 people here got this when they were under, what did yours get? And they ensure that they're getting the same information, and then they know that they can move forward with that. And that's what they did with 3-Eye Atlas, and that's how they made their replica.
Wow. Okay. Thank you for that. I know that you guys can give blessings and heal people. Like, what can you just heal this group? I mean, why not? Like, couldn't you just send your technology to all of us while we're sleeping and heal us of all our ailments? Because we're like, we're working on ourselves. We're going to do a lot of work in this weekend. Like, can you?
We love the way she asks it. She asks this in every, but she tries to ask in a little different way for you to see maybe if it'll sneak through. But we're going to tell you the same message we've told in every other group that she's done this with, is that yes, we can help you heal, and yes, we will help you heal, and we want to help you heal, but we won't do it all for you. And the reason, again, is what we've said before. If you don't know how to heal yourself because you don't do it on your own, then you're losing a lesson, and you're losing strength and power within yourself. So whenever someone just does something for you, you don't learn. So you need to be able to learn how to heal yourself as well. But we don't want to make you suffer again for long periods of time, or say you have a condition that's really bothering you. We can lighten that load, but to completely remove things, we don't want to do that, because we want to teach you to teach yourself to be able to do that. Because once you know that, then you can heal others or teach others to heal themselves. And more than ever before on this time in planet Earth, you are being attacked at every way possible. And so you need to know how to heal yourself, how to protect yourself, and then be able to spread that information forth, because things are going to get more dire on the planet. Now, some of you are not going to experience that because you're going to be shifting up into the 4th and 5th dimensions. But some of you have agreed in your soul contracts to stay in this level and to support people who aren't where you are to shift into those dimensions. And part of that is going to be helping them heal, so that their energy can be freed enough to step into that space. So yes, we will assist with your healing, but no, we won't completely heal you in every single way.
Okay, well, how are you going to assist in our healing? And can you do this tonight while we're sleeping?
So we will do some work tonight while you're sleeping, and not just tonight, but over the next 3 nights. But we also will be with you when you go into the water, and we're going to be, you won't be able to see us, but we are going to be holding hands with you as well. We are going to have energy hovering above you, and we are going to be imbuing water with our special green crystals. And so our healing energy will be with you, amplified while you do that experience. So you can know that we're there with you, acknowledge us, just like we would hope that you, based on what you've heard today, acknowledge Mother Earth and thank her for the gifts that you'll be standing on and in. And by just acknowledging that, we will be able to amplify your healing.
Okay. Well, sometimes you do heal people. Why do you heal those people and not other people?
We don't ever heal anyone completely. So we might heal something that is nagging them the most, or we may heal someone of something that is so miraculous that other people can recognize it and understand that healing is possible. But we don't ever say to anyone, we are going to take absolutely everything that is bothering you and heal it. So someone whose eyesight might return might still have a shoulder that aches. So we're not going to take it all away, and it's for the reasons we said, but there are reasons to the healing that maybe that lesson, that pain was trying to teach them, it doesn't serve them anymore, it can go, or that it can be released in order to show that miracles and healing can happen so other people have the ability to see that and believe in it then.
Since you're speaking through the subject and you're speaking with us, can we connect with you? Can we ask for a blessing? Can we work with you? Could you tell us your name?
So we don't go by individual names, but you can call us, and we don't want this to be mixed with the Arca that we're mentioning earlier, but we go by as a civilization. We have a connection to Orion's belt, and we go by the name of Arcadia. And you can connect with us. We're happy to connect with you. You can ask for our assistance anytime. One of the easiest ways to connect with us is on a vibrational frequency. So again, when we talk to you about speaking aloud, it's your words that you're choosing aren't necessarily as important as the tone that's coming out. It's your vibrations that call to us, and the way that we heal you is also through vibrations. So that would be the best way to connect with us, and we are absolutely happy to work with you whenever you call us forth.
Why were you the ones that came through the subject today? Like, what connection do you have to this group?
So we on our planet adore nature, and we really adore water. And one of the reasons that we find nature we're so drawn to it is because of the crystal we use and the green that's imbued in us. Our tree system and our shrubbery looks very similar to yours, but like 1,000 times brighter and vibrating at a frequency that you can almost see that they're alive. And where they're most alive tends to be around our water systems. And so we revere water so much. We will spend time in water all of the time. We do what we've told you to do. We cleanse our water by setting intentions. Our water systems are much cleaner than yours. We don't have the pollution on our planet like you have here. And water is just so healing. And because you all have that water connection, that's why we sort of nudged other groups out of the way today to come and be the ones to speak to you.
Thank you. We're almost like totally out of time. Can you give us more advice for this particular group? What do you suggest as like a collective message for this particular group?
So there is so much energy swirling here and flowing. And again, that makes sense with the component that you all came here with that previous water connection. But what may happen when you get home is that you're almost going to feel, and the subject can attest to this, like you were snorting cocaine for 3 days here because you are around people that get you. You are around souls from previous lifetimes. The energy is flowing, it's swirling. You're feeling so great that you're going to get home and you're almost going to crash. And to allow that crash to happen, but don't allow it to put you into a depression where you feel like, I'm only able to do this and I'm only able to be that when I'm around these people. No, you have everything you need now awakened inside of you just from being in this space. You are carrying that home with you. So just know that you don't need to be with everyone in this room to actually be with everyone in this room. You now have shared your energy again and awakened that energy up within each other. And when you go home, you are carrying that. So don't allow yourself to step backwards. Just know that you have made such strides by being here together, and that you do have the technology to stay in touch. And that is one of the beautiful things about technology, is that you don't even have to pick up a phone and make a long distance call. You can go on an app now and just say hi and connect and, rejuvenate and re-amplify that energy with one another as you need to, but to essentially carry that energy home and allow it to flow out. Allow it to flow out towards your loved ones who may not completely understand you. Allow it to flow into your home, into the land that you interact with every day, and just keep this energy flowing and going, and don't let it stop when you leave this experience.
I love it. Do you have any final messages for us?
we just want to say thank you so much for being here, that we know that in the lives of all of you humans, you hustle and bustle around, and we kind of laugh like you're like little ants. You're just like, I gotta go here, I gotta go here. And even in your mind's eye, you're thinking. And this is such a gift that you've given yourself, to be in a space where you're taking time just for you. And so give yourself a pat on the back. Thank your souls for nudging you to be here, and thank yourselves for consciously being awake enough to listen and take the cue, and just continue to share in the beautiful love and energy and flow is all that we can say that's happening in this room, and know that we'll be with you throughout this entire experience.
Thank you so very, very much. Now I'd